One day, the social worker came home during the home visits, and she could see that I'm still in denial from the conversations. You know, when you're talking to somebody and they're in denial, you can actually tell without them telling you that I am in denial. So the social worker would come home and want us to change the set up, and so also change some routines to make sure that we are accommodating our son's needs. And she had to remind me that the first step to change anything is to accept that this is what it is. Because as long as you're not accepting that, you're not going to be in a position to change that situation. So if you're actually in denial, you are delaying the things, you are delaying the process, you are delaying even the energy around you, and you are delaying the environment to be conducive for change. Then the next step that she told me was, you need now to accept. So you need to know that you need to be aware that this is what is there, and just be aware of what is there. And the other thing, accept that this is what it is. Then if you're not happy with that, then yes, you can of course take some measures, work towards changing. But do not be a person who say to yourself, oh, I'm not accepting it, and then that puts you in a zone where you just sit back and let things unfold without you in control. Because if you don't now accept the situation, you're actually putting yourself in a position where you can't control anything. But if you want to control and to be in charge of what is happening, the best way is to make sure that you accept the situation, be aware of how the situation is. And now that we were aware, the social worker said to me, now that we are aware, we need to accept. We are aware that this is what we are dealing with. So we need to accept that. Once we have accepted, we are opening rooms, we are opening doors of opportunity. We are also opening our mind to growth, and we are opening our mind to ideas on how to deal with the situation at the end. So I had to learn the importance of being aware of my situation, being aware of even myself. Sometimes I would struggle even to understand whether my son is having a meltdown, whether he's steaming, or he's masking, or he's just withdrawing socially. I would not know those differences because I was not even aware of myself. So there was no way I would be more aware of my child. Most of the times, we are very good at studying the next person. We are very good at analyzing, at seeing where they're not doing so well, where they're doing so well, how we wish we were them and would do things this way if we were in their shoes. But we forget that we already have our own shoes that we are struggling to figure out how to run, how to walk in those shoes. So sometimes in life, it's very important to just tell yourself, okay, this is the size of my shoe and this is the shoe that I'm going to be wearing. This is my situation. This is what I have at my disposal. This is what has been given to me. I need to accept that. I had to learn to look for information, work closely with the professionals. Some days she would come home and I'm actually grumpy, I'm feeling sorry. I remember the other day the social worker was coming in the afternoon, and that morning I went for shopping with my children. And as we were in the shop, Christopher had a meltdown. And while we were in the shop there, the supermarket, and everyone started staring at us, he was throwing things. He was very disruptive, and we were in a queue to go make the payment of our groceries. And as he was doing that, he caused quite a scene, such that even the security guard had to come, and they thought he was just being one of those naughty kids. I did not have the information to explain properly to them, to say this is the situation with my son. So I actually just looked at them, and deep down I was like, I wish they can just deal with him. I wish they can just deal with him, because I'm also tired. So if they can come and deal with him, that would be nice. So the security guard came and tried and spoke to him, but it was not really helpful until we had to leave even the groceries that we had come to buy. We had to leave them in the queue and just drive back home. So when the social worker finally came home for our appointment in the afternoon, I was already resentful, like, if this is what it means, that I can actually go to the shops to buy some supplies and end up coming back home without those supplies, I don't think it's a good idea. I was like, I was just resentful. I was not accepting that this is going to be a journey. It's not an event. And I remember pulling out one of the sheets that she had given me in a folder. I'd put them in a folder in my bookshelf. And I remember pulling out one of the sheets saying, look at the things that you have said I must do. And if I do those things, it was like after a month of my son's diagnosis. And I was so ahead of myself, and I was thinking, I've already been doing everything that you said I must do. So, but we still go to the shops, and he causes problems. When I look back now, I realize how much frustration, how much problems I gave myself due to lack of acceptance, due to lack of awareness, and the delay thereof, the lack of being aware, the delay in being aware that this is the situation at end. And this situation actually wants me to snap out of that resentment. This situation actually wants me to snap out of anger, of looking at this son as one son who just need maybe probably one proper strict person to sort him out. And for me, that took quite a while. That took quite a while to learn that. But I've learned over the years. I am still learning. I'm not yet there, but I'm still learning. And the few things that I've learned is that you need to be aware of the situation. Give it time. Actually study your situation. Familiarize yourself with the situation. If it's a family member that has been recently diagnosed or that is undergoing therapy and you are pursuing diagnosis, just be grateful and study as much. Put yourself in a place of study. I even wish I had spent time, the very same couple of months that we spent going for therapy and assessments. I even wish I had taken that time as well to just sit down and study because they were already telling me that they suspect autism, they suspect ADHD, they did tell me, I cannot say they never told me, they did tell me, but because I was in denial, I never then went further to study. But this social worker on this day really said to me, Nerissa, it's a high time you read about autism. It's a high time now you go and look for more material about autism. Because if you continue like this, you're going to be frustrated. And that frustration will not even work to your advantage. It will always cripple you. It will make you more and more frustrated. It will just multiply. Frustration will attract more. You will be frustrated by everything that your son is doing. You will be frustrated and you won't be able to cope. So you need to accept that this is what we have. And just be aware of the situation. Be alert. Know exactly. Be present in your child's life. Be present in your own life and be present in your child's life. I've learned to document things, to put things to record. I remember sometime earlier this week, I had a meeting with our care navigator, my son's care navigator. And, the questions that she was asking me is questions that I was asked back I was asked those questions back 7, 8 years ago. And I've noticed that because I'm keeping those records, it's much easier to answer those questions. Before I started do proper record keeping, it would frustrate me just to be asked. You know, when you get asked some of the things that you don't know, sometimes you fail to say to people, I don't know. You actually get frustrated. Why are they asking me those questions? Why are they into probing questions that make me have to show that I'm not a competent mother? So I would feel like before, when professionals would come and ask me those questions, that I have to remember every detail, every intricate detail of my son's development, I would actually get offended, because I would feel like they're now not focusing on the child. They're focusing on me and me as a mother, my parenting skills. Why are they doing this? But when I started doing record keeping, it works wonders, and it also have helped me to be able to start the patterns, to see these days my son is like this, these days is like this, his sleeping pattern, his eating pattern, even his mood swings. There was a time when they told us, when the doctor said he's also, people who are on the autism spectrum sometimes have what they call mini seizures, kind of absences, where, and they wanted me to record those. Those were one of the toughest things I've been asked to record by the medical professionals, where you have to be observant of your child and check his behavior throughout the day. And when those absences happen, you have to record. I remember I had this time sheet where I had to fill in what time did the absence happen, how many minutes, and from what time to what time, and how was he before the absence, and how was he afterwards. It's emotionally draining, but it's worth it. It's emotionally draining, but it's worth it. This information I'm just sharing to another mom there, another family there, that once you start this journey of wanting to get your child, get assessed, please keep records. Keep records, will always work in your favor. Records will make even your life easier, and records will make you say consistent things as a parent, because us as parents, we are the primary caregivers for our children. We are the carers to our children or family members that are, or that will be on the spectrum or any other special needs. So when you now have the record to know that this is what happened, this is what happened, I started journaling like nobody's business. I started just keeping records, knowing the mood, knowing how was his mood when he woke up. Like these days, up to these days, we record, and those records are even required. They get asked way in offices where you don't even know that, when you didn't even assume they will ask for those records. So one thing that I had to learn as I worked with professionals is that there is need to keep records. There is need to keep record for you to consistently give same information, so that when people are making decisions, when people are making recommendations, when professionals are making decisions that affect your child, they have a consistent report, they have a consistent response to their questions, because most of their questions are actually the same. They can be from different departments, different individuals, different offices, but they ask plus or minus similar questions. So if you have a record that you are keeping yourself, that you know that this, they also see that this child that we are trying to help, this family member that we are trying to help, they are in safe hands. The people that are looking after them, the parents, the mom, the dad, they really making an effort to keep records. And I found that very, very useful. Be aware of your situation. Be aware of your situation and the demands that are required in that situation. What is demanded of you? What is expected of you? in that situation. In this diagnosis, I had to learn what is expected of me. What is my role in this diagnosis? What is my role? Yes, I'm the mother, but what else do I need to activate in me to make sure that that role is played and I won't be found wanting? So I had to learn to accept, and the journey to acceptance, I cannot say I fully accepted because it's an ongoing thing. The acceptance is for me, it's an ongoing situation because how this autism presents itself in my son is different from day to day, and I have to learn to accept it on a daily basis. I have to learn to accept what is happening, and I have to learn to implement, to know which tools to implement, which strategies to employ to best help my son. So I challenge you to be on the lookout, be aware, be in charge of your journey. Be in charge of your own journey as a caregiver. It makes life easier. If you're looking after yourself, you are in a better position to look after those are surrounding you. Because you have a duty of care to that loved one who has got special needs. But you also have a duty of care for yourself, so that you look after yourself. You are going to be able to pour from a cup that is full, not from a half cup or an empty cup. Because if you are empty, there is no way you can be there for somebody fully. So you have to look after yourself, replenish yourself, refill your cup, refresh your cup, so that you are in a position to be there for somebody in a very positive manner. See you in the next video.